Is Allison there? This is Billy. Robert, not Billy, Robert. Yeah, I'm 16. I'm Chipper Jones's cousin.
Oh, I'd probably send him a lot more than pictures. If he told me that.
In the morning, I'm making waffles.
Whoever said orange was the new pink was seriously disturbed.
And when it comes to huge openings, a lot of people think of me.
Just call me a fuck ass.
Brilliant. Scary. I get nasty when I'm horny.
Welcome to Not Another 2001 Movie Podcast, a show exploring movies released during the first year of a chaotic century. Today, we're going to crack some codes. I'm Josh.
I'm Slate.
And I'm Allison.
Icebreaker, as always, before we get going. This week, the way I have it written here is I'd like to hear about your first time you remember using a computer. That can be kind of open-ended, really, however you want to take the question in terms of talking about just computer memories, your maybe to get into, I guess, more of the theme of the movie. I guess the first time you were doing something naughty on a computer or hacking into something, I guess, if you have a story like that. But
okay,
however y'all want to go with it.
All right, I guess I'll start. Yeah, so I mean, obviously, like I think we all have the same kind of memories as far as like. The first thing I remember about like using a computer, of course, is like just getting the AOL cards that have like the minutes that you're allowed to use on them and the dial tone and and all that good stuff. And then, you're like logging on and your mom's on the phone and then it disconnects. So you're like, Mom, get off the phone. All that fun stuff. Yeah, for you people who have no idea what AOL is, like my nephew, when I told him that a buddy of mine used AOL as his email for a login, he was like, what? And I was like, AOL. And he was like, what is that? And I was like, oh no.
Dude, I have in the last couple years still encountered people that have AOL email addresses.
It's wild.
I'm impressed.
Like, and it was so iconic too, right? Like because you would log in and you would always hear, "You've got mail," and like it's just not a thing anymore. It's crazy. But yeah, and you could customize those greetings too, which was kind of wild at the time. But obviously, so that's like my earliest memories of using the internet. Other than that, there's two things I guess I could go with. One of them was using the AOL chat rooms, which, my God, like if I found out that my daughter was in a chat room now, I would lose my mind because you have no idea who's on the other side of that. And that shit gets wild, crazy, out of hand. Fair enough to say I'd been kicked out of a chat room or two, doing some messaging that I probably shouldn't have been doing at the age that I was doing it at. It's absolutely wild. It's just like, oh my God, I would be fucking mortified if I read those messages now. But of course, like the earliest memory that I had was probably like, it was probably like right around this time, like 4th, 5th grade. A buddy of mine and I that played Little League football together, hanging out, and we were hanging out with a couple older kids, and they mentioned something about like, we were talking about wrestling, and they were talking about, I believe it was China at the time, who was, she was the 8th wonder of the world, and she had just done, I think, Playboy. And he was like, yeah, you could find those on the internet. Like you don't have to go into a store and buy the magazine because you're not old enough. And so like, us two dumbasses went downstairs in the basement and were trying to find China's nudes on the internet. And of course, we had no idea. Like at this time, everybody's using the same computer. It's a family computer. You don't have your own personal one. And of course, like we had no idea what the history button was. So needless to say, when his mom found that we were looking at that was a fun conversation. So yeah. That's probably my earliest like memory.
Josh, you want to go ahead and go because as the oldest, I'm sure mine's a little more retro.
Yeah, we have I was a 10-year-old boy with internet, similar experiences, getting caught trying to look at things you shouldn't be looking at. In the spirit of the movie, I guess the thing I recall that was definitely illegal or on the fence, I guess, downloading ROMs like video games. Not myself, because I grew up, I didn't have high-speed internet until I came to college. So in 2009 I moved to Lexington, and that was the first time in my life that I had high-speed internet. I had dial-up the entire time, so it was like anytime I was pirating music, downloading music, it was like I'd be sitting there for 2 hours trying to download a fucking CD. But I had buddies who had high-speed internet, and I would go to their house, and we'd be playing like Super Metroid. It was like so cool, like, because I didn't have a SNES either. So my first exposure to a lot of SNES games was through ROMs on people's computers when I was like 7 or 8 or whatever. It was just kind of wild to and I don't know how they figured it out or whatever, like, but kids are crafty, and suddenly it was just so cool to be playing video games on the computer. And it's weird, it still feels like kind of odd to me to do that, like to be putting things in places where they aren't supposed to be. Nintendo games are supposed to be on the Nintendo, not on your MacBook or whatever. So it was just the earliest version of doing that. Other than that, I mean, I was in web forums. I was on places like Ranger Board it's a Power Rangers forum that's been around forever, and I was a shithead, y'all. I was 9-10 years old on there, acting like a 9-10-year-old dumbass, and I cringe at. I can still dig up. I can't find that far back because their archives don't go back that far. When I was doing stuff for the book, I just did a search for myself, kind of like looking through some of my old stuff, my oldest posts, and by this time I was probably 12 or 13 or something. But even then, it was like I still wasn't like a decent person by any means. And like some of the shit I was saying, like, God, like I was a fucking idiot. Like, why did I like? It's stuff like that. When I look back at my own activity on the internet, I one of the more restrictive opinions I sometimes have is that I think maybe we should make people have a license to use the internet, even though it doesn't necessarily jibe with my it doesn't jibe with my overall like beliefs about the world in general. But there's times where I kind of do think maybe we should have, if it should be like a driver's license.
You have to take like a cognitive ability test to see how your brain functions,
and like with driver's license,
you even have Facebook.
I believe you should, maybe every 10 years have to retake your driver's test. You probably ought to do that with the internet too.
It amazes me, like the amount of like stuff that gets posted that people like truly believe that is like completely fake or like clearly an AI picture. And oh my God, it's such a sad world.
It's like when I have relatives who are like well-educated people, but especially the older ones and some of the stuff they share, I'm like, do you realize this is fake, or are you trolling us? Or
my mom, like, God bless her soul, she used to send me news articles that were like just pure propaganda from like 24/7 News Weekly, U.S. Eastern Coast Pacific.com, and I would be like, Mom.
.biz.
Yes. I'd be like, Mom, if this isn't coming from like CNN, Fox, like, a legitimate news company, don't send it to me. Like, I don't care about the 75 leeches that they found in a McDonald's Coke. Okay. I'm just making random shit up, but like, so just like, oh, Mom. I'd kill to have one of those messages now, but still.
Okay, so my earliest memory, well, the thing I remember first is my sister's 6 years older than me, and when she was going off to college, I was coming out of 6th grade. And my parents bought her a word processor, which was a big deal at the time. So this would have been around 94. Do y'all know what a word processor is? It's literally just a machine that lets you like type and then connect to a printer to print.
Okay,
That's
because
it.
I
It's a
was thinking
glorified-
of like the app on the computer, word processor.
Yeah, like
that
Microsoft
you're-
Word is what I was
Yeah.
thinking of. So
No, it's just that's all you could do on it. It was basically a glorified typewriter, like a digital typewriter, essentially.
Okay.
And like that being the height of technology at the time, like, oh, she's going to college and she needs this machine. And my mom got a computer that was like the family computer shortly after that, and I remember playing a Wheel of Fortune game on it all the time.
nice.
And then they got me my own computer. I think it was 96. I think I was in 8th grade. But it was Windows 95 and it came on a CD-ROM. And I remember like going through the CD-ROM and looking at the stuff on it. And there was a folder labeled fun stuff. And the Weezer music video was just randomly on this CD-ROM. And I never realized it till literally last week. A video showed up on TikTok where a guy was explaining why that music video came with the computer, and it was to show off the video and sound quality. But Weezer had no idea that it had been licensed to go out on those by the company on those CD-ROMs until after it came out, and someone told them. But then they kind of credit it with adding
When
to
you
their
said a
popularity.
file that said fun stuff,
I thought we were going in
I
a different direction.
thought we were going down a big rabbit hole. I was like, oh.
but to your point, Slate, I mean, I loved baseball and the Braves specifically.
Okay.
Chipper Jones, even more specifically, if we want to go there. But there was like,
oh no,
You know he hit both ways. Chipper Jones, switch hitters.
he ended up with a lot of issues. But there was like a Braves chat, like kind of an official chat that I went on all the time. And the stuff that I like gave people information, I like mailed my picture to some people.
no,
Like
you
it-
did.
Oh,
Yes.
Allison. This is why my daughter can't have
I know
the internet.
this is why you need to keep a tight leash on your daughter.
I'm taking the iPad right now.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I did actually meet another teen girl, and we became like pen pals. And
Are you sure it was a teen girl?
No, I met her. Yes, we met her in person because like we realized we were both going on vacation at the same time, and we were basically going to cross
Oh
paths.
my god, that is like a blatant kidnapper. I'm so terrified.
But went to my parents. She went to her parents. The parents talked, and then we met at a.
They sent each other their pictures.
It was a it was a knife store in
God. Yo,
Sevierville, not Gatlinburg, but I can't remember the name of it. But it's basically they're like, okay, there's this like very public place, easy parking, and we like met them there in the parking lot, and then went to McDonald's and had lunch.
that's kind of cool. I mean,
Allison, you have a movie right here. You have the start of like
yeah.
a really good movie, I think, in your memories.
But yeah, I remember one of the young men I had sent my picture to ended up calling the house, and my mom answered and was basically like, what the fuck is going on? And that was the end of that.
How young was this man?
He claimed he was 16. I was 14 at the time. So
Okay, at least.
Is Allison there? This is Billy. Robert, not Billy. Robert. Yeah, I'm 16.
I'm Billy in the other chat.
Yeah.
And this was, what the halcyon days of like 1996, 97. I cannot imagine right now any parent wanting to let their child use the internet now.
Yeah, I'm Chipper Jones's cousin.
Oh, I'd probably send him a lot more than pictures. He told me that.
Oh, all right. A couple things else I feel like we need to talk about just because this is internet based, and now I'm going down the nostalgia train. One, LiveWire.
Yeah,
That was a huge thing, right? Downloading
Napster.
music. See, for you it was Napster. For me it was LimeWire. Josh,
Napster burned bright.
Yeah,
And
Napster was awesome. It
Yep.
was it set the table. My mom was like my mom's one of her friends got her into Napster, and so I was born in the forged in the fires of Napster.
see, like by the time I started downloading music like that, like Napster had already ran its course, and you were having to pay for stuff, and I was like, I ain't paying for it. Downloaded my fair share of movies on LimeWire too. Caught my fair share of viruses, of course. Thanks a lot, Eva Angelina. You turned a boy into a man. Sims Tower. You guys remember that, where you build your own condo like tower, and you put like coffee.
SimCity?
No, this was just like Sims Tower. It was you just built a tower, and like you decided if this is going to be an apartment or a condo, or if this is going to be an office, if this is going to be a coffee shop. Like you built like just a skyscraper with all these different. It was I remember playing that. Do you guys remember Slingo? My parents loved Slingo.
That rings a bell. What was the game? Was it like Hangman or something?
No, I honestly don't remember. If I saw it, I would be able to tell you. But it was like a number, like kind of like a Yahtzee style game, I think. And then last but not least, all right. Obviously, I grew up in a world loving professional wrestling. Did you guys know back during this time when the internet and the blogs and all that were a big thing, you could create your own online wrestler character and tell somebody, this is my character's name, this is their finishing move, this is the style of person they are. They're a heel or they're a babyface, they're a good guy, bad guy. And people would write these wrestling shows, and like every week you would be like, my guy lost this week. Well, this is bullshit. I should have won, and like, and you're like talking back and forth with the guy that's writing the show and your character. And
so you had someone else authoring your fan fiction.
Yeah, like he'd have a list he'd have our full roster, and he would make 10 matches, and like he would build storylines, and like, Super Slate came in and robbed Tony Gunn of the title, and this will be next week's pay-per-view bloodbath, and then like and then they would have like promos, and they'd be like, ask, somebody would ask the character what he thought about his match, and he'd be like, well, let me tell you something, brother, and it's all typed out for you. It was wild. What a time to be alive.
Did you ever send anything into the internet other than your pictures to strange people, Allison?
And that was through snail mail, so that makes it even.
There's hard copies somewhere.
Oh God!
Back in my day, we just sent nudes via carrier pigeon.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I wrote some, like fan fiction type stuff, but like I don't remember really ever posting it to the internet. But I did post to the internet, and this was into high school even. I was on a Yu-Gi-Oh! I played Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot like back then, and it was like there was like a forum called Pojo where you could, one of the forum or threads in the forum was making your own cards. Like it was like kind of what you were talking about. So like people just like would come up with their own card ideas, and people would say, "Oh, that card's overpowered," or "That card fucking sucks," whatever. I would make like whole sets of cards. Like I would spend like I would and post them into the forum, and people would be like, "Oh yeah, like I need to go back and see if I can find that stuff." That'd be so cringy probably to look at, but. I don't know, and now we're making podcasts, so we were made for this, y'all.
I did write fan fiction, yeah. So you're talking about putting stuff on the internet, so.
And now we're here. Talking about Swordfish.
You know the problem with Hollywood is? They make shit. Unbelievable, unremarkable shit.
This movie.
You guys.
Y'all. This movie, I told my coworker today, I was like, there is not another movie that we're going to watch that better encapsulates the year 2001 than Swordfish.
That's probably true.
It's like a greatest hits of like late 90s excess. They're trying to be Tarantino Tarantino light, sort of. They're stealing stealing bullet time from the Matrix for that first scene that you said before Josh hopped on. You're like, I fucking hated that scene, which that seems to be the one scene everybody else likes.
I was going to say,
I love that scene. I just think once it blows up and everything slows down, I think the opening sequence is
but that's what they're talking about. That scene where it slows down and they're panning around. That's the bullet time that they stole from the Matrix, and apparently, at the time, it was like the most expensive CGI in Warner Brothers history.
I believe that.
Well,
but the early internet of it all, and John Travolta
trying to still be a thing.
On the tail end of,
is this a wig or is this like pre-bald Travolta, or is this like...
I don't know. As I kept looking and I'm like,
he doesn't know either.
Is this a wig? Surely it has to be, right? And he's got this
I don't know.
weird goatee,
the soul patch
that I think moves around. I kind of wanted to go back. There was a few times where I was like, is that slightly off center?
There's some really embarrassing photos of me that exist in this world with a soul patch, and not because
it can't be more embarrassing than the photo I sent you guys in the group chat earlier this week.
All right, sorry, Josh, take it away.
Well, now I'm on my soul patch story. I wore mine because of a Power Ranger. It might be even worse. So.
Oh, JDF.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Allison, before I get into my spiel, there's something you when you mentioned the Tarantino, I was thinking about that because you mentioned that to me in a chat earlier too, and I pondered that. And actually, the more you think about that's just so perfect. 'Cause the way I look at it is, it's like you took, because I think Quentin Tarantino's kind of like a sleazy, or slimy kind of asshole. Like, he seems like somebody I would not ever want to hang out with. But I like a lot of his movies, and I think he's whatever he has in himself, he distills the best parts of it into his movies. I think this movie is like if you took the Quentin Tarantino in my head, the sleazy asshole, and then turned that into a movie. I think
it's
that's the tagline, right?
It's kind of the bizarre use of language. So how many times does someone talk about sucking a dick or eating a dick or doing something with a dick, and the way the lines are always thrown out there, and they've got a little English on them, and it's just so incongruous with what's I'm like, they're trying so hard to be edgy and cool by peppering in all this cussing, but it does not work the way it works in a Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
Does it not work because it's John Travolta delivering it though?
I mean, it's all of it's Don Cheadle tells that lawyer to eat a dick as he kicks him out, and I was like, what? I was like, okay, first of all, you have just freed this man beating up his lawyer, telling him to eat a dick.
I forgot about Don Cheadle telling him to eat a dick.
And Halle Berry, one of the first things she says is, "I'm not here to suck your dick, Stanley." And he kicks her out the door.
Oh Lord.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we'll back this up for a second. So I'm the reason we're talking about this movie, because I drafted it in the Booyah category. A lot of things I could have drafted otherwise, and now I look back. I remember in real time during the draft thinking, at some point I thought I should have taken Training Day instead. And even though it's kind of on the edge, it is an action movie probably technically, but it's kind of not. So
are you talking about this movie or Training Day?
Training Day.
Training Day is more of a drama.
This is more of an action movie than Training Day. So that was kind of my thinking in the lead up to the draft. But now I just keep looking back and I'm like, why did I take this movie? There's reasons. I think there's some stuff there, but okay, I guess I just needed to really take a draft, a really shitty movie. That was kind of, I guess, in my heart, what I was thinking. It so stat-wise comes out June 8th, panned right out the gate. It received a lot of negative reviews. You can find plenty of people out there shitting on this movie. I really liked Peter Travers' review, which I linked to in the show notes. I just pulled a single line from it that I think sums it up pretty well, though. His thoughts: Swordfish is demonstrably shit, just like it says in the script.
I mean, John Travolta opens this movie by telling you you're about to watch a turd of a movie.
Effectively, yeah, that's really how this movie starts. It really almost on the nose starts with Hollywood makes a lot of shitty movies and you're about to watch one.
I really love the conversation about Dog Day Afternoon,
himself.
though. I really love the conversation about Dog Day Afternoon, though.
I'd rather be watching Dog Day Afternoon.
All right, look, guys, this movie's not great, okay? Like, it's not. It's not. But it's a fun, like, I enjoy this movie. Like, you guys are acting like this movie is a slug
It's okay to like a movie, Slate.
Yeah, I mean,
I know, but you guys are making it seem like it's I mean, all right. Okay. Is it a terrible movie? Maybe. But it's not a terrible movie. Like,
here's how the way I kind of mentioned this to Allison earlier too. I took this and .com for Murder.
Oh yeah, you did.
And I took .com for Murder in the what is supposed to be like our shitty movie category, and I think it's a much better movie after watching this twice than Swordfish. So.
Man, I like this movie. I think this movie's fun. I think it's good. I think it's good in a vacuum.
I like it. There's a lot of things I appreciate about it that I will get to, but it's fucking awful. Like,
I don't know why I'm defending it like I drafted it.
It earned a B cinema score at the time.
Yeah.
Grossed $147 million, which is $273 million adjusted for inflation, on a $102 million budget, which is $204 million adjusted for inflation. So it made its money back, kind of, before you get into the marketing, which was based on some things we'll talk about later. It had to be really expensive. It had a Super Bowl ad. It had a big partnership with Heineken. But with DVDs and everything, it probably got into the black at some eventually, as things do. Hollywood accounting is a fun thing. Directed by Dominic Sena. Without looking at the show notes, can you guys tell me another movie this guy directed? Or do you know off the top of your head?
Gone in 60
Gone in
Seconds.
60 Seconds.
Yeah, that's the only one that matters. That is his, and I would argue between this and that, it is probably still the only movie that matters that he's directed. His last movie was Season of the Witch. He's only directed like 7 movies, and Season of the Witch was the last one, which is another time he worked with Nicolas Cage. That came out in 2011. Haven't watched it. Don't have a desire to watch any of you guys ever seen that. Just trying to give Cena his due, but I don't think he needs it. He was a music video director. That was kind of how he made his hay leading up to getting into the film world and movie. I mean, I imagine he probably, I'd bet directing movies it was probably just his like retirement gig based on how much he was working on music videos and some of the people he's working with. Sting, Janet
This whole
Jackson,
movie looks like a music video.
Yeah, it does. Mm-hmm. That's probably part of the problem I have with it. And part of why I like it. But
it's weird though, because like Gone in 60 Seconds doesn't. I mean, it's weird because like there is a lot of similar like lighting and camera angles to Gone in 60 Seconds that you notice when you watch it again after you realize that it's directed by the same guy. But Gone in 60 Seconds doesn't feel like a music video to me. But like
I haven't watched it in forever.
I also think Gone in 60 Seconds is like good trash.
Oh yeah.
You know, I enjoyed that movie, and I can acknowledge that it is extremely dumb. But
okay, so you're telling me John Travolta, guns akimbo, just blasting dudes on both sides of him, while Hugh Jackman doesn't know how to drive a clutch, is somehow driving a clutch and shit's just blowing up? You're telling me that's not good trash?
A European sports car where the driver's on the right side for no discernible reason aside
he's a rich
making
fuck.
Hugh Jackman be confused.
Oh, this movie's stupid.
If you had told me Brett Ratner directed this movie,
the gun he pulls out of the trunk of the car is bigger than the fucking car.
It was written by this could explain a lot of this stuff. Written by a guy named Skip Woods. Again, another person doesn't have a lot of credits. Most of them are IP related things. The only movie in his filmography that I know for sure that I've watched other than this one, and that means anything to anybody, would be X-Men Origins Wolverine, which is just by age
The worst X-Men movie.
Well, I don't know that it's the worst anymore because there's been worse ones that have come out since, but it's in the running. I think the Phoenix one is pretty bad.
Okay,
too.
that's fair.
But that one came out like probably 6
Almost
or 7
like
years.
what, like 7-8 years later?
Yeah. So, but it's in contention. Like this is the Deadpool. Wait, isn't this the one where Deadpool doesn't fucking talk? Like they
Yeah,
sew
they
his
sew
mouth
his
shut?
mouth shut.
Yes.
I mean, like that's all you need to know about how stupid that movie is. Produced by the late Jonathan Crane, who was effectively like his whole career was just being John Travolta's manager, so he got a lot of producing credits that way. So good for him. Obviously hitched his wagon to the right guy. And Joel Silver,
Yeah.
who brought us Exit Wounds last week. So kudos to him. He would be in the running for MVP of the year if these movies were good.
Exit Wounds is good. What? No.
Exit Wounds does laps around this one. I will say that. Exit Wounds is awesome, like compared to this. And okay, we'll get to the movie. But first, he was involved with Lethal Weapon, The Matrix was something he was a producer on, so he had some taste. He
And
also
one of our
produced-
favorite horror movies we have to talk about later this year.
He did produce 13 Ghosts, which isn't in our schedule yet, but I'm sure it'll find its way there because
It has
my
to.
wife really likes that movie. So maybe she can come on and maybe she can record it in my place. That could be fun. So, speaking of John Travolta, he's the top billed cast member here. He's kind of like on the tail end of a comeback that started with Pulp Fiction with Tarantino and throughout the 90s there, mid 90s. He had a little bit of a comeback after his heyday in the 80s. He's a billionaire criminal. I think works maybe for the government, maybe not. Offsite. He's like one of these black market sort of things going on. I'm not really clear. I honestly am not real clear what this guy. I don't know if he's a terrorist or what he is.
Okay, are we talking about like?
We're talking about Gabriel.
So the blonde version of him at the end that shows up. He's pretending to be a different terrorist throughout the whole movie. But I took it to be he's part of the secret organization that the government can't do these actions against other countries, but they're aware and kind of allow this unrelated organization to go about doing their dirty work, essentially. Is that
as good a read as any?
I kind of took him as like a black ops mercenary with, government ties, maybe used to be high up in the military or something. But the weird thing about it to me that doesn't make sense is like at the end of the movie, like you said, he's changed his look. He is clearly still John Travolta.
with really bad frosted tips.
Well, fun fact, actually, they used the Vincent Vega wig from Pulp Fiction, and he just frosted the tips on that to make Gabriel. But no.
That was the cherry on top of this 2000s cake.
But real talk, what I mean by he still clearly is John Travolta is he doesn't look like a completely different person. But when Hugh Jackman is getting the wine bottle, you see the real person that, Travolta's identity he's stolen, like his head's just in the wine cellar. So how the hell did they make him look exactly like that guy? Like, I was thinking, like, is this like Mission Impossible where they're, doing the whole face and the chimera stuff? Like,
he makes
so
some
weird.
comment that I've changed my identity so many times that I don't remember how he finishes the sentence. And I took that to mean later on toward the end of the movie that maybe he's gotten plastic surgery to look like that. But I was like, why would you not then get more plastic surgery to look like someone different?
Right. Yeah, it's odd. But yeah, he's essentially what people would call a ghost, right? A guy who doesn't exist. He just kind of weaves in and out of, the universe and works behind all these black curtains and nobody knows he's even pulling the strings.
Y'all explained it better than I did. Or I could have, because I don't know. I watched this movie 3 times and I'm not really sure what was going on half the time. So he's in this movie with Hugh Jackman, who's kind of new still, as far as American audiences are concerned, at least, but fresh off X-Men from the year 2000. In this one, he's a hacker named Stan, who is he's the main driver of like why the movie is happening, but he's also just sort of along for the ride, and most of the thing that's going on, he doesn't really have any agency in anything that's happening. He's just, even though he is kind of the whole reason this movie's happening. There's Ginger, played by Halle Berry, who can't think of, Ginger's just an odd choice. I really legit think she was just named Ginger for a really stupid joke in the first scene she's in.
Go ahead and tell the joke, Josh.
God, do I have to? Let's see. So she's talking to Hugh Jackman's character when she's going to recruit him basically at the start of the movie, and she goes, "I'm Ginger" or whatever, and he goes, "Where's Gilligan?" Oh, what a fucking great joke! Like, this is perfect stuff. Like she's basically a Bond girl. Is sort of how I kind of just take her. Like kind of like a.
This is, what is it? Tomorrow's Not Enough, or Die Another Day 2.0, like before it happened. What Bond movie was she in? Was it Die Another Day? It's Die Another Day.
I think it was Die Another Day.
Was that 02, that one? I think this was before that, but I don't know for sure. I don't follow Bond close enough. Some of our friends over at Glitterjaw do. Maybe we can ask them. They have
Die Another Day was 02, Halle Berry. Yep.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, this was her warm up for that. She won Best Actress this year, by the way, for Monsters Ball. We've brought that up a couple times on the show. We haven't got that on the schedule. We're talking about this one instead. So
I've never seen Monsters Ball, but love to check it out.
No, yeah, I think we probably should weave it into the schedule at some point, because we've talked about a lot of actresses who she beat for that that year. So it seems kind of weird that we won't talk about that. So we will find a way to do Monsters Ball. Don Cheadle's also in this movie. He's an FBI detective. I think he's really good when he's on screen. Most of the time, doesn't really do anything in this movie. He's
except fall down a hill for 90 seconds.
The longest foot chase that is, and most ridiculous. Like,
oh my god!
Did anybody else have a hard time taking him seriously when he's beating up the bad guy though? Like I don't know. I didn't buy Don Cheadle as a dirty cop. Like, it's like throwing a dude up against. Yeah, the lawyer thing was one, but like he went in there and like beat the shit out of the witness too. You know, like, I don't know. That was like the one part that I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, he doesn't shock me. He doesn't do a good like bad cop. Yeah, he's a nice guy. Gives off too much nice vibes. I will say it's interesting. I would not have, like, Don Cheadle wouldn't have meant much to me if I'd watched this at the time, but now that he's been in like the MCU forever, like, he's somebody that I'm actually more interested in like going back and watching some of his stuff now than I would have been otherwise. So
we'll catch up with him later in Ocean's 11.
Yeah, Cheadle's in 4 other movies this year: Rush Hour 2, Ocean's 11. Some of them are cameos, like brief cameos or whatever. But
yeah, I love his scene in Rush Hour 2 though. That's awesome.
I was not aware that Sam Shepard was a Kentuckian by the end of his life, like, which is pretty cool. Renowned playwright, actor. He was also in The Pledge and Black Hawk Down, which we didn't even talk about him when we talked about Black Hawk Down.
We talked about him a little bit.
I mean, nobody in that movie is.
There's
like,
so many dudes in that movie. That,
Warrant's like Olympic.
But he's essentially what the captain that's like, given the mission to Josh Hartnett and his crew. And kind of calling shots.
He's the guy getting made fun of, right? By the one.
No, the guy that's getting made fun of is Draco Malfoy's dad.
Oh yeah, you're right.
But yeah, he's the one that's like sitting behind the desk, getting like, oh, this Black Hawk's down, this person's dead, and he's like telling the troops, well, you got to stay out there and get the guys, and then come home and all that stuff.
The Pledge is something that I don't know if it's got action in it, but it was something. It was on my draft board, even though I didn't watch it leading up to the draft, and I've never seen it. But it's Jack Nicholson movie. Like, he's the lead in The Pledge, so it's something, I don't know, it might be worth visiting somehow. Okay, before we go on to the more for the movie, just some other kind of interesting things about it. It's one of a handful of movies from 2001, as well as the most recent at the time of this recording, which is happening in February of 2026. That has received a 4K upgrade, like, and a really nice packaged edition from a boutique company called Arrow Video, which does a lot of cool stuff. They have Donnie Darko. They've done a Donnie Darko release that is. We'll be talking about that later in the year. Quality of the film aside, I love that stuff, and I would love to see more movies from this year that are good get that kind of treatment, whether it's from Arrow or Criterion, whatever, whoever it is. I just think it's wild when you look through these movies that we're talking about, how many of them are just stuck on DVD, even like haven't even had like a Blu-ray upgrade. So it would just be, I'm just a big advocate for that stuff. So just like to note that. Swordfish was also the first Warner Brothers movie, I literally was reading, found this out today, that was specifically promoted to, quote, internet-enabled phones, users of internet-enabled phones, personal digital assistants, and other wireless devices when they visited certain websites, such as something called 10best.com, which when you enter that now, it's like redirects to a USA Today thing, so the domain's still live and is in use. So kind of neat. Only other note I have here, it's a co-production of Village Roadshow. And this barely warrants a mention, but Village Roadshow has a sort of very brief, an offshoot, like one of their subsidiaries has a hand in Power Rangers for a couple years, a few years after this movie came out. So I just wanted to put that out there so we could talk about Power Rangers briefly. All right. I think I know what everybody thinks about this movie generally, but let's just get right into it. What do we like? Or what? Let's talk about everything we didn't like. And I'll get started. I drafted this movie, and I kept thinking. I texted the guys, Allison and Slate, when I was putting the notes together, and maybe the second time I was watching it, and I texted something along the lines of, I can't remember why I drafted this movie. And because it wasn't something I had any nostalgia for. It was something I'd never seen until we were doing the draft prep, and I was kind of watching a lot of stuff ahead of time. And
it had to be the ensemble cast, right? I mean, like, that's what sells the movie if you haven't seen it.
I mean, that I will say, I've brought this up a few times on the show. It has one of those posters that is like
iconic.
That is like really burned into my head, even though I'd never seen the movie. I think there are a lot of things going on in the movie that are interesting, that are more interesting to me than the movie, like the paranoia, the surveillance. There's not really much surveillance, but like the conspiracy kind of top stuff. There's a speech that John Travolta gives about 50 minutes into the movie, maybe, about terrorism that is fucking bonkers.
That in
like 3 months afterwards, what happens?
His speech is basically like, America is untouchable and terrorists can never get to us because we get to them first. Is sort of the gist.
Insane how fucking wild this speech is. When this movie comes out, 3-4 months before September 11th, and what this speech contains is like,
that's why I'm like, it is the perfect 2001 movie, because it captures that American hubris before we had our ass handed to us.
It also throws like even more fuel on the fire for people that are like, well, yeah, that motherfucker's right, like, oh shit, if we just do what he's talking about doing here and sacrificing one life to save 10,000 others, we wouldn't have had this whole 9/11 thing happen. Like, crazy. But I mean, like, I could totally see some idiots thinking that way. Like,
and so there's that aspect to it. There's also some, I guess, and I was thinking about it a lot as action, because it's a weird movie, because it's not like balls to the wall, like something like, I think Exit Wounds is way more like of a really action-packed movie than this one. But like, there's big action set pieces in this that I do think are impressive. I think that scene where they blow up the bank, or the woman blows, whatever, we'll talk about it in more detail. But the explosion at the start is really cool. The helicopter stuff at the end is like,
I did actually
bonkers.
Love that.
Like, and then the car chase in the middle. So there's some really good action.
Don't forget the falling down the hill scene.
The falling down the hill thing. And again, I
every movie at this time has people falling down a hill. Like, that was like every stuntman's like just normal day at the office.
2 minutes
just roll
almost.
down a hill.
Like, Like,
It's literally I timed it. It is 90 seconds, 90 straight
timed it?
seconds of
For
them
real?
falling. I did,
it's long.
and the score is like. It's like the kind of score you'd have in a horror movie that indicates danger, and the whole thing, I was like, "This is a parody of itself."
And then it stops, and they get to the ball, and then they're just like, they're like we went through all that, and they're just going to like sit there and talk
And
for a
then
minute.
that
and
third agent just drove his car down there. I was like, "Yeah, man, that's if y'all could have just hopped in the car and met him at the bottom."
And I thought about it a lot. Because I really got hung up on that opening scene every time I watched it, or the second, after I watched it the first time, but the second, third times I watched it, like the monologue at Travolta, and it's fucking obnoxious, and like it is like basically like it's trying to do a Tarantino like offshoot sort of thing, but like it has no. This person writing this movie is incompetent and couldn't nail it in any way. Like the only reason it has any gravity to it is because Travolta's the one reading it, but the way it frames the movie, I don't think the movie at all nails this, but I think you can read it as like this whole movie is kind of a commentary on movies in a way, and a little bit about what you've got into, Allison, about like just what the kind of the whole zeitgeist of the moment and all the kind of things happening around the culture at the time that sort of get crammed into this. And in that way it really does function like you, or at least you can interpret it as like, yeah, this is sort of like the send-off of the 20th century, for better or worse. Like this movie is like, okay, that was fun. Remember how good all these other things that this movie reminds you of were?
Like that monologue wants to be kind of cool and edgy and meta and taking the piss out of these types of movies, but then the movie itself isn't in on the joke. It's very serious.
It's taking itself.
It's taking itself way too seriously. I did not care for the Travolta monologue intro, but I liked starting in media res with this hostage situation and explosion. Like I think that's when people do it well. It's a good intro into a movie. And it went downhill from there until the end when the helicopter picked up the bus, which I honestly loved.
I must be just a sucker. Like Hollywood must just like love me, because like Travolta's he's delivering this line and talking about Dog Day Afternoon. I'm like, oh yeah, yo, no, he's right. Like, real. Hey, bro, if he'd have just shot the dudes, like I was like all in, like focused on what Travolta's saying about
obligatory casual transphobia happening, by the way, in this opening monologue, if anybody listening. So
yeah, it's very 2001 and what what the I guess status quo at that time was for most people, but yeah, like it just, I was into it. Like I am a sucker for like when movies start talking about the dichotomies of other movies and breakdowns and all of that. But like, so I was into that conversation from the jump, and of course he's sitting there talking and they're like, well, the movie doesn't work because the bad guy has to lose and this and that, and just Travolta getting up and then seeing the SWAT team at the door, and he's just like, come on, let's go. And he's like, and they're all just like wanting to shoot him, but they can't shoot him. I was hooked. I was instantly like in right then and there. This movie had my attention. The whole
it's a great start
scene,
to the movie. Like it really does draw you in. Like
until it blows up.
It's really strange. Like because it's a very unique kind of way to open a movie, and I think it gets at a little how y'all kind of perceive what Gabriel is. It kind of because like he walks right out. Like the SWAT guys could just shoot him right there. Like so, it's like they're clearly.
But he's got the dead man switch
this.
on him. All the hostages would die if they shot him. That's why they can't. But going back to what we were talking about earlier about finding the head and that being the real person that Gabriel was trying to look like to get away with what he's looking like, I think I've fixed that flawed thought of mine. I believe that head or body was either fake or however they did it.
Every time I watched it, I assumed it was just.
Yeah,
I
it's a
just
prop
thought
head
it
that
was
he
just a
uses
prop.
with the.
No,
with
it's a
the
full
helicopter.
body because it's a full body at the end whenever they're
Yeah,
in
at the
war.
end. So I don't.
It's the actual.
Is it a real person?
It's a real person. It's a terrorist that he made himself to look like and killed and basically stole the personality
But his name
purpose
is
of
really
this-
Gabriel.
of this heist. No, his name is something different. Hang on.
No, they pull him up later and say that his name is legitimately Gabriel, but that's all we know about him. Like, because he doesn't have a picture and all this other stuff. I'm just telling you on this one. But, so I don't know. Like,
This
yeah.
movie's stupid.
Well, hold on. You know what caught my eye this time? Like, because of course I'm watching it in the background because I like to do that while we're doing these podcasts. So he kills Halle Berry and says, "Oh, she was DEA, Stan. Like, basically, what are you gonna do about it?"
Kills her.
And she's wearing a wire and tells him that she's DEA and she's trying to get him out of there. But then she's in on it at the end.
Dude, that's like I'm telling you, this movie's
That
stupid.
made-
'cause there's
that's the
nothing
part that
about
made no
this
sense.
Movie that makes sense.
So when Hugh Jackman walks in on her and she's in her
It must have been planted
bra and
to see if he's
panties
tested.
with the world's largest wire. That is,
Yeah.
she was wearing such a slinky dress, and I was like, there is no way you were able to hide that under the dress. And my first thought was, you are a shitty undercover agent. Like, the door was unlocked, he walked right in, and then at the end of the movie, like, she did that on purpose.
Yeah, she
To
was,
test
his
that's
loyalty.
the only way it makes
Catch
any
her-
sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
to try to lure him.
It's-
Like it's
It's part of his
She's like, oh, we're on this-
magician stuff.
Yeah, like, we're kind of on the same team, and I get it, and I'm just here to take, just do this job and get out, and basically to keep him from running away.
I think the movie does try to. It try to keep you. It's weird. It doesn't try to keep you guessing because I never felt like the entire time I was watching this movie, like I never felt like it was like I never felt like there was a mystery to it. Like to me, it never played that way anytime I watched it. But then by the end, you've had one pulled over on you pretty much the entire movie with Halle Berry's character, and then I still don't really understand what's going on with Gabriel fully, and Hugh Jackman's like a criminal. He's like the only person in this movie who's like, they're all criminals, but he's somehow he seems like the most normal fucking dude, and he's the only one that's ever had any kind of punishment for what he's done.
Did you all also think that they make such a big deal, like, oh my God, Hugh Jackman, you're a felon and he can't get custody of his kids, and meanwhile his daughter is living in
With
a
a porn
literal
star and porn
in a
director.
porn palace.
Well, I think that's where I get into.
I was like, he was only in prison for 18 months for hacking. It's not like he killed
And
somebody.
can we talk about like, so he was hacking?
Oh my God, Slate! I gotta send you this GIF. I sent it to Josh today.
Oh yes, please send it to me.
He lives in a trailer in like an oil rig, like an oil field, like, and that's where Ginger shows up to recruit him, and I don't understand. I don't understand.
And he's wearing a towel, the world's strongest towel that doesn't fall off.
I do love that scene. I do actually quite enjoy Halle Berry and Hugh Jackman talking to each other. Pretty much any time that they're engaging with one another is good.
Damn it, this GIF isn't playing.
Storm and Wolverine. The cat.
No, it's supposed to be animated. Why isn't it animating?
Okay, while we're on that subject of like the typing, do you think Hugh Jackman is like literally just pressing buttons randomly, or if he's like, no, this is what an actual coder would be? Like he
Had no fucking clue. He
I
was
don't think he had any clue.
like how
Okay,
do they
now
pass
there-
this shit off? You know?
He was just banging away at that keyboard like my son would be doing
Like
the
the
same
cat.
thing.
in the GIF. That's great.
I don't know, where do y'all want to go with this? I don't want to spend a whole lot of time dissecting this movie. There's a lot of funny scenes.
Okay,
Jackman
all
gets a blowjob. That's cool.
All right, I was gonna say,
he
we have
gets
to-
he gets sexually
Yeah,
assaulted?
well, yeah, he gets sexually. Yeah, he honestly, it is sexual assault.
I mean, yeah, he didn't seem to care.
Yeah,
I mean,
what was her name? Helga? Is this our
yes,
second
Helga.
Our
Helga's
second
her name,
Helga
yeah.
of the series.
She's really good at that, as Travolta says, I think. But okay, obviously, like as a teenager, when you haven't heard or seen this movie when it first comes out, but then you become 13, 14, 15, and they're like, have you seen Swordfish? And you're like, no. But I hear like my mom and dad won't let me watch. Well, that's because two things. One, you see Halle Berry's boobs in it, and two, this guy gets a blowjob while he's hacking into a computer, and you're like, huh, what, you know? But those are obviously like iconic scenes in cinema at this point. Like the blowjob sequence with him like hacking with a gun to his head, just like, okay, all right. Again, I understand why you all think this movie is bad, but the stuff that it does that is so outrageous is like cinema. It's so cinema. Like, I loved it.
See, to me, it comes across as we're trying so hard to be cool that I'm like,
oh,
I
it's
don't think
definitely
this is
trying. It's definitely trying really hard to be edgy and unique and cool. But like, for instance,
also, the other thing I love about that scene in particular is they're like, we need some privacy, and the guy closes a clear curtain. Okay. But meanwhile, everybody in the room and Halle Berry, they're all just sitting there watching this blowjob, like,
yeah. Okay, but all right. So you've got the blowjob scene, like the action stuff at the beginning, the shootout with Travolta, just dual guns and in the middle of the roadway with the senator's men and the SUVs following them, the bus flying in the air. Like, the action stuff is really good and fun and cool.
There's a whole we kind of glossed over. There's a whole other guy in this movie that kind of starts off the movie that gets just killed. Pretty like
he essentially is.
He's the world's best hacker, and Hugh Jackman, I guess, is the world's second best hacker.
Yeah.
Like I forgot about that. Both the other times I watched it, like I was like, oh yeah, this guy's here for like the 10 minutes of the movie, and then just like, I don't know, it just felt superfluous. Like, did we really need to set this up? This best hacker gets killed. Like, we couldn't have just went straight into the Hugh Jackman stuff. Like,
they had to set it up to give you Don Cheadle doesn't fuck around. That's what that was all about, is setting up Don Cheadle.
He kind of did fuck around. Like, that's the whole reason that guy died.
He beat the but he beat the fuck out of him too. You know what I mean? Like, so look, all right,
also,
man.
I love
just
that
think
Vinnie Jones and his accomplice, whose name
Gone
I'm
in 60
forgetting,
seconds.
to somehow get a gun into the station.
Yeah.
Undetected.
Such a ridiculous.
Not to mention, Hugh Jackman doesn't know how to drive a stick shift, but he can hack into the Department of Defense, and also can manage to use a grenade launcher that he's never seen before, and aim it perfectly at a helicopter and blow it up. Look, all right, I understand the absurdity of this movie. Okay, completely understand it. But like, I like it. I think this movie.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's just.
I'm not even gonna say that I don't like it. I'm probably the only one who owns it.
All right. I own it. I've just never taken it out of the case.
I'm looking at Josh's notes, and he has one bullet that just says boobs.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's talk about the real reason that anybody is here for this movie. Halle Berry is
two
topless
reasons
for about
two reasons.
Yeah, two reasons. Halle Berry's topless for about 1.5 seconds, maybe 2 seconds tops. I didn't time it. I guess it's a good play. Like, so, I mean, it is, I guess, gratuitous by definition because it's not really there for any other reason. Well, the reason I push back a little bit is on it's not needed. I grant you, it's not needed. But so by definition, it probably is gratuitous. But like, I don't know. I don't care if like someone's like naked sunbathing or whatever, which is kind of what she was doing. She was reading a book, like she wasn't inside, right? Because that was my other thing. I kept thinking about that later. I didn't want to go back and rewatch the scene again, but
she's like in a shaded area on a rooftop.
Yeah, like I know that they sort of have a pool out there, so I was like, well, I'm just trying to come up with reasons to be like, okay, it's fine that she was naked. And again, I don't care. I like looking at Halle Berry's tits, so it's like it's not like I don't mind that she was topless, but I remember though.
Sorry, Josh.
What is happening?
I don't know.
Just Josh saying, I don't care. I like looking at Halle Berry. Yo, I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to keep it. All right, continue. I'm a mute.
But I don't even remember where I was going with that now. But it was the only thing I knew about this movie, like before I ever watched it. It was the only thing I remembered it from my childhood, like this being like the movie where Halle Berry got paid.
It's so interesting that they made it a selling point.
Yeah. Like, and that's the part of me, like we were talking about this earlier, Allison. Like that's to me where I would go, like, yeah, it was gratuitous because like they leaned into it in the mark, it was a selling point for the movie, like you said.
I guess it was funny that it's not even a sexy scene because you would have expected it. You would have expected that it would have been like during a love scene or something that was like sexy.
Or even if even if it had happened in the scene where he walks in on her putting the wire on or something. Yeah. Like that would have at least been more that makes sense.
I think it's just comical the way that they do it, where she just lowers the book and she's like, here they are, check them out. And then she just like,
she's doing it tongue in cheek for the crowd.
And
she's
he turns around and immediately trips over a table.
And I guess it is kind of like you said, like you said, Slate, like she's just kind of doing it for the crowd because that kind of was what this was because she got paid $500,000 extra. She made $2 million for the movie, and then this was $500,000 on top of that to show her boobs. I guess like that's the only thing I.
And you know what? Good for her.
She's
also said that she did it to get over her fear of nude scenes, which she is nude in Monsters Ball too.
Okay.
So.
Okay. See, I was gonna say like I hadn't seen Monsters Ball, but my first thought was like, okay, had she won the Oscar for Monsters Ball, and this movie she starts filming this movie after she's won the Oscar, she's not doing the boobs, right? You know what I mean? Like one of my issues that I have with Darren Aronofsky, for instance, is when he directed Mother. And at the time he's dating Jennifer Lawrence, and the character of her film, like she's wearing like a lacy gown that's showing her breast, pretty much multiple times during the movie. And if the role felt beneath her, and it felt like she was doing it for him because of like their relationship at the time, and he's passing it off as this big artistic film. But like it felt like ultimately it felt like he was just using it as an excuse to like show her naked. A lot of times it felt like it just felt like the role felt beneath her, and it felt like it was just not right. I don't know. And that was part of my issue with him. And don't get me wrong, like Josh, like I like looking at Jennifer Lawrence's boobs. Like she's a good looking woman, but like her nude scene in what was the rom-com she was in?
The thing where she's like dating or trying to date someone's son.
I can't think of the name. No Strings Attached. No Strings Attached.
No,
I didn't see it, but
no, that's Mila Kunis.
No.
God, I can't think of what it was. Anyways, she's beating the shit out of college kids.
No hard
feelings. She's beating the shit out of college kids butt ass naked, and that was awesome. Like I had no problem with that. That was funny, added to the scene. It was cool, and it caught you off guard. Like oh shit. But yeah, like Halle Berry, I don't know, like. I don't really know and remember where she was at this point in time. Like obviously 2001 is a big year for her, but like where was she before that? I don't know. It just felt like the nude scene, while I'm not complaining, didn't seem like it was like, I don't think it's something she would have signed up for 4 years later. You know what I mean? But like for you to say, Allison, that she really did it because she, obviously she got paid $500,000 for it, but two, like, hey, she wanted to get over her fear of doing nude scenes, and all right, like, I respect that. Like, I can get down with that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's.
Would you, if you were an actor, would you be naked in a movie if you were paid an extra $500,000?
Oh, they probably wouldn't have to pay me $500,000. I've been naked in the streets at Red Mile for nothing, so
I'm not the right person to ask for that either.
So. Yeah, I don't have enough. What's the word? Is it self-control or self? I have too much
shame.
Yeah, I don't have enough shame. That's what I'm looking for.
I'm just gonna say I'm very comfortable with myself, so I got no problem with it. I mean, obviously, like it's different when you're showing the whole world and everything and all that, but like, if it's like acting and that's part of the role or whatever, I mean, yeah, if you want to throw me an extra money for sure, but like,
give me a finder's fee.
Especially if it's like a love scene. Who am I doing it with? All right, no problem.
We yeah. So I mean, there's some other like.
Wait a minute, Allison. Hold on, $500,000 for you. You gotta answer your own question, Miss Lady.
Oh yeah. It probably wouldn't, like Josh said, it probably wouldn't take that much money. But
she was sending pictures and
I was
to strangers on the internet.
It's like oh God. The pictures I sent was from a portrait in my cheerleading uniform too.
Nice.
So it was me in a cheerleading outfit.
Oh.
I know, it's so.
Oh my God!
So
please tell me your dad didn't know, your mom did not tell your dad when she found this stuff out.
I hope not. No, I feel like I would have heard about that. If my dad knew.
If my daughter's mom said, "Guess what your daughter did today?" I would have an aneurysm. My head would explode.
Also, like she'd say, "Your daughter."
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what your
she
daughter
learned that from you, Slade.
Probably who she got it from. Okay.
Speaking of computer screens, did anyone else laugh when they bring him to the special hacking room and they all sit there and gaze in awe at the 7 screens?
Yes, I love that.
I was like, this is what everyone's desk looks like at work now. Like I have 3 monitors at work.
Yeah, I only have one extra monitor beyond like my laptop monitor now. But man, when I was working full time for the newspaper still, and I had an office situation, I had 3 monitors at one point for like by the end of working at the newspaper, and I don't even know why. Like really, I barely used one of them. But.
Another thing that needs to be brought up, because the math ain't mathin' here. $415 million in 15 years becomes $9.1 billion?
Isn't it $9.5 billion?
$9.5 billion?
Yeah, I like their interest rate.
I need that interest rate right now. I won't touch.
Have money to make money.
Yeah, I won't touch $1,000 for 15 years, and I'll be a 200 millionaire.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because that's the whole. This movie's named Swordfish, and it's because of this contrived thing in the movie where they talk about this.
Is that real, or is that something they just made?
I looked it up, and I can't find any record of like a conspiracy theory or anything. So it's like totally made up, I think. But it's like Operation Swordfish, this defunct government thing where they had all this money in an account that got left, and now it's been sitting there for a little while, and yeah, it's suddenly worth way more money than it seems like it should be if you actually start doing any kind of real life math.
Yeah.
Sam Shepard's a senator in the movie, and he's somehow in cahoots with Gabriel, by the way, and that's in Too Long Didn't Read. Gabriel gets mad and shows up and shoots him in the middle while he's fly fishing at some point, which is kind of
why would he ever really be by himself? Like the whole thing.
It doesn't make sense that a U.S. senator would be out there by himself, does it?
No.
You don't think Mitch McConnell goes fishing by himself?
I don't think Mitch McConnell does much of anything by himself these days.
What he said.
Fair.
Oh, no, I mean maybe I guess, but it's one of these scenes. And there's a lot of these, and we've talked about Tarantino a few times. I do think this is a movie like if Tarantino had his hands on this movie, it is so much. It would make there's so much about it that would just be written better. First off, but it would just there's just things like that scene would be a little more fun than like it seems like there's this movie isn't it takes itself too serious enough to actually like make any sense once you start like watching it, and it's not leaning far enough into the camp and like comicness of everything it's so tonally doesn't, to me at least, doesn't fit into any space tonally to where it's hard to enjoy it fully as in any moment because you're just watching it the whole time and like, what the fuck is this movie trying to accomplish?
Okay, so here's how we fix the movie. We bring it
Turn
back.
it off.
No. We redo Swordfish, and we get Tarantino to write it with Christopher Nolan, because Christopher Nolan is a mastermind at the sleight of hand old switcheroos, and voila, now we have the perfect Swordfish ever.
So who is Christian Bale in this movie?
Fuck Christian Bale.
This feels like Christian
Bale's Cheadle.
This.
Christian Bale's Don Cheadle.
I mean, I did have
Travolta?
a. Is this the Prestige moment? Whenever the John Travolta.
That's where
corpse.
Prestige. That's where I was coming at with Bale.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I love that that just goes uncommented on after Hugh Jackman freaks out. I mean, he's drunk too, but it's just such a quick scene as well.
Yeah,
and then
the only comment you get is, "You look like you've seen a ghost."
Yeah.
Oh, so I do think, to me, the movie really starts to lose a lot of momentum, whatever it had in terms of momentum, when we go back into the present. Like,
I thought the same thing. That scene the first time around I thought was really strong, and then when we come back to it, there's something about it that just kind of it lacks urgency.
Yeah.
To me, even though there's this whole. It just seems like they have all the time in the world for him to just sit there and hack and get in these bank accounts and then take his daughter and walk off.
Yeah, because it felt like in the opening scene, it really felt like, oh, like shit's about to go down. Like, we gotta get moving. And then you're in that. Then when you finally, it's about what it probably takes about 45, 60 minutes, maybe even longer than that, before you get back into the present. And then you kind of spend the rest of the movie in that, and it just feels, it doesn't feel as urgent by the time you return. And then we have another weird fucking thing with Halle Berry's character getting lynched out of nowhere, which is like, every time I watched it, I was just uncomfortable. Like, obviously,
so I texted Josh. I was like, "Do you think anybody working on this movie thought twice about the connotations of hanging the main black character in this movie?"
And then I texted Alice and I said, I don't think there was a lot of thinking happening on this set, like, at any point. So,
it is curious to, like, all right, Hugh Jackman, right, is a pretty smart guy as far as like the movies that he picks and chooses to be a part of, and like Halle Berry too, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Travolta's the only person in this movie that makes sense that's in it in terms of like, feel it, like, because he's the star, like, he's the top billed guy, so he's like getting that probably the biggest paycheck of anybody by far in this movie. Probably, I bet he got paid.
15.
I bet he got paid at least $15 million to be in this
15
turd fucking sandwich. Like,
so like, but yeah, you know, like Hugh Jackman is an artist, you know what I mean?
But this
like,
is the beginning of his career. I mean, the only thing he's done of note,
he's a rising star,
was the first X-Men at this point. He does Kate and Leopold this year as well, and I think that's the movie that really kind of cemented him as a leading.
And it's
man.
interesting. I wonder. I'm curious. I wonder if, because he X-Men comes out in 2000, so he, probably filming it in, late 98, throughout 99 probably. I wonder if this is something he had signed on for after, like as like things were
like before X-Men released, but after, yeah.
Because I don't think it would have affected him doing it, but I would like to know the timing of it, because it would be kind of give you some insight into what he's thinking. It is crazy.
I do think he and Halle Berry have actually really good chemistry.
They have great chemistry.
They're great
in this movie.
Every time they're together. I mentioned that earlier. I think they're great. Travolta's like, man, like, I think he's good in this movie, but I'm not the biggest Travolta guy to begin with, but I think he's good at what he does most of the time, and I just think his character is so fucking strange, like, and he's purposely strange, but he's like, again, it's like if you had someone who knew how to writing this character, it would be a lot more fun, but I don't think he's campy enough or serious enough.
I'm not sure. When this movie finished, I thought, I'm not sure what they wanted me to take from this movie, because on the one hand, he's a villain throughout, but he how many people did he kill on his way getting this money? But don't worry, we hear in this newscast that a terrorist's yacht has mysteriously been blown up, and we know that he's the one who did it. So it's like, are you supposed to see him as an anti-hero?
He gained about 30-40 pounds at the end of this movie too. His face is so much.
He looked
fatter.
like Bill Clinton.
He kind of did.
Yeah, just like kind of bloated and like.
I do want to shout out, they filmed on location a lot of this stuff. Like even that last scene where it's like literally the last scene of this movie is him. Yeah, he's in another disguise, and they went to Greece or whatever country they're in. Like they went there and filmed that scene in that country, and it's like, man, y'all really like
That's what they did at that time, though.
A ton of money, and it's mostly not on the screen. Like that's the other crazy thing. Like you got the helicopter thing is cool. Like I think that's probably I know the explosions really is the most iconic thing outside of Halle Berry's breast and Hugh Jackman's blowjob. But I think actually the helicopter thing is cooler. Like to me, that's the most exciting action thing. Yeah. The coolest action stuff is with the helicopter. But we know my feelings about helicopters, so.
And
best
all
part
the
of Black
people,
Hawk Down.
All the hostages have no agency, or they just quietly get on the bus, and they're just the whole time they don't interact at all, with the exception of the one poor girl who's begging them not to save her, because if she gets too far from the bank, she knows she's going to blow up. But I just thought when they're all getting on the bus, and then the cables break, and then it's hanging, and they're all just, I don't know. I would have thought there'd be much more.
Maybe people jumping off the bus to try to.
Well, they would have exploded.
Chaos and screaming, and.
I'd rather, if I thought I was going to die in like a bus, like if a helicopter was lifting me into the sky, I'd feel right then that I'm about done. Like I think I would explode in midair. Like I feel like that'd be a better way to go. Like I don't know. I hope I'm not in that situation.
For his like, I'm smarter than everybody and outthinking everybody. Like his master plan is kind of absurdly like stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then don't worry, everybody's fine at the end. He gets away with it. Hugh Jackman's gets his daughter back somehow. The porno director,
well, they're dead.
They're conveniently killed by Gabriel's henchmen.
Hugh Jackman got him some cash on the way out.
They kidnapped his daughter to basically force him to come back to participate in their scheme. You forgot to mention that whenever he, hacks. This is how he hacks. At the end, and they're splitting all this $9.5 billion across all these different accounts, and there's conveniently like a counter on the screen so you can see where the money's going. And he walks away. He's walking away so slowly. And I remember thinking they're like, okay, we're gonna let him go, and he like slowly grabs his daughter's hand and is like, aren't you fucking running out of there? Yeah. And of course, 10 seconds later, he's coded it to move the counts every minute? Is that what he says?
Yeah,
every 60
like
seconds it gets shifted around.
It's going to different places every 60 seconds.
So he gets caught trying to scam them or screw them over, and
and he's the greatest hacker, and he's like, it wasn't really supposed to happen until like 4 hours from now, but
he was the second greatest.
Yeah, that's right. He's the second greatest.
Yeah, the first greatest would have done that the proper way. Fuck, crazy, absolutely crazy. But yeah, the ending with Halle Berry surviving and still being Team Travolta was wild to me, because like my first thought was, after he shoots her and he says, well, she's DEA staying, and like just bounces on her, I was like,
it's such a
she's wearing a
Chinatown Jake.
It's like she's wearing a bulletproof vest, like she's gonna find Hugh Jackman at the end of the movie, and like her and his daughter are gonna be a happy new family. No, this bitch is in the fucking Maldives with Travolta.
The other thing that I laughed at was
he had more money by the end.
They at the end, they tell Hugh Jackman, I don't remember what Ginger's last name is, but they say, there's
Snaps.
no record of a Ginger Snaps, of a Ginger Jones in our directory. And do you think she would be using her real name when she was undercover?
Actually, she's got a Rolodex of sitcom names that she just pulls and weaves them out.
She clearly was not DEA. It's just her using that as like her ploy to keep staying around, like you said.
Her actual name was Pussy Galore or something.
What's the name of the chick? What movie was it? We were talking about it with One Battle After Another, Thunder Pussy or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Is that the name? Thunder, or is it Jungle Pussy?
Jungle Pussy.
Oh hell. I don't have really anything else to say about the movie at the moment. I mean, I oddly do like it. I mean, like it's.
We could have led off with this instead of Fast and Furious, and it would have been an amazing.
Well, we would have
first
tanked the podcast right out of the gate.
Oh man, no!
Like, what do y'all like Swordfish? It's fine. Okay. I mentioned
killing me.
that it has a Super Bowl.
This is just a podcast full of giggles. They're gonna hate this episode.
I mentioned the Super Bowl ad earlier. There was I tried to Google Super Bowl ad Swordfish earlier, and all it kept bringing up was swordfish, like filleted swordfish fillets and stuff. Like it's like great.
The $6,000 Super Bowl probably.
SEO was not in mind when they named this movie. Let's get into the bonus feature. Originally, I was going to talk about terrorism, surveillance state stuff, and conspiracies. This movie does not warrant a deep discussion, a serious discussion about anything that might touch people's lives and make them feel, like mad at the world. So we're going to talk about alcohol instead, which is something I think you should consume while you're drinking this movie. It helps. More specifically, alcohol advertising. And why is that? We mentioned it earlier. This movie has a significant tie to the beer brand Heineken. There was a Heineken ad campaign. I failed for some reason. I wrote a ton of notes for this bonus feature, and I left out the amount of money that the Heineken campaign. I think it was like $10 million though. Like they had a $10 million campaign that year, of which this movie was, and the people in this movie were a big part of the campaign. They had the ad, which starts out with so Halle Berry, Hugh Jackman, and John Travolta all had to agree to have their likenesses used for this ad campaign. So they got on top of whatever they were getting paid for the movie, probably a healthy chunk of change from Heineken. And Travolta probably even got more because he is not just having his face from the movie in these ads, but he also filmed he is part of the ad itself. Like he's just halfway, part way through the ad, it starts. He's just drinking a beer with a bunch of women around him, and it's about as goofy as the movie. and and they had like point of sale displays, with Halle Berry and John Travolta. It's like things where you basically you'd be like posters on like what you would see on posters on fridges and stuff, with like buy Heineken, like
it's weird.
Swordfish.
Like there's more product placement for Corona in Fast and Furious than there is for Heineken in this movie, and there's no product placement for Corona.
I didn't get like this while I was watching the movie. It didn't come away thinking about Heineken, and then I was just reading about it. And this
did you not notice in that first scene in Hugh Jackman's shitty trailer, when she opens the refrigerator, there is all this rotting food, including an onion that has been cut and is not in any bag or container, just the raw onion cut in half, sitting on the shelf next to a line of Heineken beers.
Oh, I did not see it. I tell you what, I didn't catch that at all. I think I was too busy thinking about Halle Berry at that point.
She could have been drinking a Heineken by the pool. It could have been like on the stand next to her.
It could have been really overt. Like they could have had.
They could have put it right between her boobs.
He could have.
Although people wouldn't have even noticed the beer bottle there.
She could have been wearing one of those hats with like the beers on her side.
You should have had one. He was holding one while he was hacking and getting head.
Hugh Jackman, instead of wine, could have been drinking a Heineken.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, it's so odd.
Yeah, they missed out. That was where the money should have been going. We brought this up while we talked about Zoolander a while back, but Hollywood actors endorsing and showing up in commercials for anything was not a common practice for a very long time in America, which was like shocked me when I was reading about this. Like, it just seems like it still seems pretty early for this kind of thing to be happening. And endorsing alcohol for a long time was even rarer than that. This seems like the kind of movie though, like, yeah, everybody's just kind of going in on it. We're just going to cash as many checks as we can and promote the shit out of this movie that, so whatever. Mostly I want to use that to, bring up just the history of advertising and alcohol in America in general. Cause, we live in a weird country, obviously. And some of that is our history with alcohol is pretty interesting. And, we are the only country, at least, I mean, not the only country, but we within the last, is it still within the last 100 years? 1933? Yeah, we're still in a period where within the last 100 years, we outlawed alcohol. Like prohibition, national prohibition was a thing that's not happened in our lifetimes, honestly, but it's within the lifetimes of people conceivably that we've known. Not people that were drinking, like I guess like our great grandparents or whatever would have been children during Prohibition, but if they're around or when they were around. But it's interesting because that pre-Prohibition, a lot of advertising for alcohol was pretty artistic. Like a lot of it was driven around trying to basically like associate alcohol with high art in a way. Some of the most interesting things, the Girl in the Moon from Miller, like that she originated during like 1903 or 1904, if I remember right.
She looks like a moon pie ad.
Yeah, and she's still part of the brand. It's just like kind of more offset, it's like it's not as big as it used to be. I was stunned to learn this. Pabst Blue Ribbon originally, like when it came out, was because now it's like the trashy, like hipster beer, like the $2. This is my confession. If I'm gonna drink a really cheap beer, fuck Bud Light, fuck all Miller Lite, I want a PBR. That's what that's PBR is. If I'm drinking a cheap beer, PBR is my
Miller High Life, brother.
PBR is like just
champagne
the right combo of flavor. They had the Godzilla partnership.
That's literally what they call it, the champagne of beers. That's Miller High Life.
But when it came out, so the Blue Ribbon, it came out. It was in bottles, and that had silver like foil wrapped around it, and then a blue ribbon tapped. Like that's what the Blue Ribbon was. And one of the most, I guess, famous ads from around the turn of the 20th century was a still life portrait of, and this is in the show notes for anyone listening, so I encourage you to check this out because it's hilarious. Of PBR bottles, 2 PBR bottles, situated next to a plate of oysters. Some things I thought that were interesting. Guinness, it's not an American brand, obviously, but best-selling beer still in the UK and Ireland, and one of the biggest beer brands in the entire world. It began in the 1750s and didn't produce an ad until 1929. That was the first time that they released an advertisement for their beer, which is kind of crazy to think about. Like something could have that big of a standing in the world and go that long without advertising. It's pretty wild. Their slogan that kind of Guinness was good for you. It was a very simple ad. It was just a picture of a beer or a hand-drawn photo of a beer, a pint glass, and Guinness is good for you, a slogan that they used for a while. So Prohibition happens. That sort of, throws a wrench in everything. You could still advertise and consume alcohol during Prohibition, National Prohibition, but it was something that you couldn't produce it. There was a lot of rules. I'm not going to get into all that stuff. There's a lot. Prohibition is really interesting though, if you ever want to go read about it. But after that, a lot of people struggled to capture like the creative messaging that happened before Prohibition, and that's some of that's because people. A lot of states were still slow. Like some states still prohibited for a while, and so it was just hard to really kind of come up with a game plan on advertising alcohol. But basically, you get to a place though where the United States Brewers Foundation, which is defunct, but has since been replaced by the Beer Institute. It's just a trade association. They came up with an advertising code. They were one of the first organizations to self-regulate and impose self limits on TV advertising, because that was starting to come to the forefront. And so that was happening. In conjunction with that, they started running a lot of print ads called the campaign was called Beer Belongs. And it was just a lot of, it got back to some of that artistic stuff, but it was more not so like I'm not good with art styles, but it's more like a kind of a realism kind of painting, like not still life stuff, but more like showing people in action, like just day-to-day life, like slice of life type art. It's post World War II. It's like, people are coming back from the war, very quaint, very normal, very white, kind of idyllic settings. That basically is like, it's all propaganda for beer. Like beer should be part of your life. And that sort of helps beer start getting back into the cultural landscape. Liquor is another thing. Liquor was not allowed to be advertised on TV for like 48 years. It was like not until like the mid 90s where liquor was able to take advantage of some of that stuff.
It's so interesting. Sorry, in this Beer Belongs ad, that you have to look hard to see the beer. Mm-hmm. And by the way, it's only the men who can enjoy the beer. The women are front and center wrapping Christmas gifts, presumably because the men aren't going to wrap their own. That's what I'm taking from this. But yeah, I had to look really hard. Too busy drinking.
That ain't the only thing they weren't wrapping back then. No, I'm sorry. Oh shit! I'm sorry.
And that's just one. So I included one of those photos in the show notes. They produced something like 130 different images as part of this campaign. Like it was a really, really. I mean, we're talking about propaganda with Black Hawk Down. Last month. This is or a couple months ago, I guess. This is like, you talk about propaganda. Like, I love beer. Don't get me wrong. I'm a beer guy. I'm drinking a beer right now because this episode deserves a beer. But talk about propaganda. Like, come on. Like, this is like straight, because we're still at a time where people because during Prohibition, one thing that was also still allowed during Prohibition is doctors could prescribe alcohol as medicine because it was still considered healthy, and it was something that could make you get healed. and so doctors at the time were raking it in with prescription dollars from alcohol. It's just a weird time to have been living. So TV starts kind of taking over. The first brewing company, the Hyde Park Brewing Company in St. Louis, was the first to ever sponsor a TV show. I don't know how much you guys know about old TV. A lot of old TV was like sponsored by companies instead of like, it wasn't just like ads how we know them now, commercials as we know them now. It was like, the match game is brought to you like kind of like by the Tide, like this show is basically, it exists because Tide paid for it, or whatever.
Right.
So this was like a local show in St. Louis, but it's recorded as the first company to ever do that, which is kind of cool. It's like, it's a small company. They actually got sold the next year, and they've been out of business for a long time. So it's kind of sad, but kind of a small little part of history. There's a ton of really fun ads from the 50s and 60s of beer that just like, you talk about a different time and place. I encourage people to go check some of that stuff out sometime if you want to.
I call every bottle darling, darling.
I love you, dear, my Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Tell us why you love it so, for we would really like to know. Well, here's one reason. No other brewery in America, or perhaps in the entire world, has received more important international awards than the makers of Pabst Blue Ribbon beer. Gold medals, diplomas, citations from country after country have confirmed officially what public opinion has been demonstrating for 105 years, that Pabst Blue Ribbon is the finest beer served anywhere. Your taste will tell you why. I pour you and adore your creamy foam.
Your friends and neighbors too will whisper, I love you.
When you serve them Pabst Blue Ribbon in your home, please pass the pretzels. When you serve them Pabst Blue Ribbon in your home, you hear it everywhere. Finest beer served anywhere. 33 fine brews blended into one great beer.
Sports can't be understated, the effect of sports in terms of marketing alcohol to people, especially in America, but worldwide, but obviously talking about our country. First Budweiser commercial allegedly aired during the first Super Bowl in 1967, but that, as far as I could tell, hasn't been confirmed by any video that exists, because that video is kind of there's a weird story behind the first Super Bowl. But then the next Bud ad was about almost 10 years, almost a full decade later, in 1975. Features Ed McMahon is a voiceover reads a voiceover in the commercial, and there's a twist. You're watching a skier go downhill most of the ad, and it's not like trying to conceal necessarily who it is, but it's like I think the nature of how it's shot, it makes you think, oh, it's a man, and then oh, gasp. Takes her helmet off. It's a lady, and she wants a Budweiser. Like,
It's a woman.
The Clydesdales, who I think that's like the biggest thing people associate with Budweiser. They debut, as far as ads go, in the 1978 Super Bowl. An ad called "Here Comes the King." I thought this was cool while I was researching this. I didn't know the story behind the Clydesdales. They were presented as gifts from the elder Bush. Anheuser-Busch from his sons as a way to celebrate the end of Prohibition. So kind of a interesting tether there. The Frogs, for the Budweiser Frogs, debuted in the 1995 Super Bowl. I think that's probably the one that maybe has the most resonance with us. And then come around, we brought up Swordfish ends up being advertised in the Super Bowl II in 2001. I hadn't thought to even look this up before we were talking about this movie, so it's kind of nice to bring this up now. There were 5 other movies advertised during the 2001 Super Bowl. A Knight's Tale, Hannibal, which would have come out probably just like 2 weeks after the game.
Yeah.
So that probably did a great thing for its, a lot of juice for its, because I know it did really well at the box office. The Fast and the Furious, and The Mummy Returns. So a lot of, all 5 of those movies are better than this one. So at least they have.
Slate's face.
I'm taking this over A Beautiful Mind every day of the week.
Our Beautiful Mind didn't get Super Bowled. So.
No, but it won Film of the Year.
So beer
Fucking
marketing
Russell Crowe.
and liquor marketing too. there's a lot of various limitations and restrictions, but still is a big part of our lives. To some of the things that are kind of like restrictions on it, it can only be placed in media where 71.6% of the audience is of drinking age. I think that's such a strange, precise number to be pinned on.
Is that a rule now, or that was a rule then?
That's a rule now. That's the current kind of
71% of like people that watch the NFL are 21.
71.6.
Okay, 72% of people who watch the NFL are 21 or higher. Like, how can you prove
it's
that?
a very right. It's also like one of those loosey goosey things, right? Because like every fucking football game has like Bud commercials out the wazoo.
Time out. This can't be real because, like, okay, before Hulk Hogan died, his new beer, All America, Real American Beer, is now a sponsor for WWE. Has logos on his mats, like on the mat and everything. WWE is like kids. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's an adult fan base. 72% of that fan base is not adults. It's like 50-50.
Prove it. I mean, that's probably the logic of like it. A lot of this is like contingent on like, how are you interpreting the data?
How are you measuring
that's so
this?
weird.
What data are you like? We can get into that in a second. You can't use. Well, you can use cartoon characters, but it's highly discouraged. And other creative elements that are designed to appeal to people under 21. Again, I think that's a very open to interpretation thing, especially as like, I think culture, whether you think this is a good thing or a bad thing or a non-thing, there is like an infantilization of culture that's probably happened over time that I think like it makes it even harder to like say like, well, I mean, fucking people who are 45 years old love animation. Like, you're going to say you can't like, because you use animation in a beer commercial that it's trying to appeal to kids. I don't think that's a thing that can hold as strongly as when maybe the rule was put into place. And you also can't promote based on the effects of alcohol, which I do think is something I thought about that as I watched, or I was just thinking about this. I don't remember ever watching. Now you watch some of those 50s and 60s advertisements, and we're talking a different ball game, but I don't remember watching an ad like in the time that I've been consuming media that made me like that felt like it was trying to say like, oh yeah, you're going to get drunk and it's going to be fun. Like it's always the stuff around it that it's being advertised.
The kind of lifestyle and perception of the type of person who drinks this beer that you would want to emulate.
Yep.
Or in the case of Budweiser, they just make fun commercials with cute mascots like the frogs and the Clydesdales that people kind of love.
Yeah,
or big ass eagles flying on the back of a Clydesdale.
Yeah, we're coming pretty
America,
fresh off
fuck yeah.
Yeah, we're coming fairly fresh off the Super Bowl at the time of recording, and Budweiser's latest ad is very Americana. They got fucking Leonard Skinner play. I hate Freebird. Like whatever. The rest of the ad, I could like whatever. I'm like, it's patriotic, whatever. That's fine. But I hate Freebird. Like the minute that fucking song started playing,
it's a trope at this point.
I love Freebird, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's an abuse of America at this point.
I mean, it's the way it's used is so it's basically like the second national anthem is sort of the way it's like.
And after writing that fire of a Star-Spangled Banner, Francis Scott Key put his pen down and then picked up another pen. This pen was the feather of an eagle, and he wrote Freebird with that.
And then Ronnie Van Zant
Interpreted
channeled
it.
Francis Scott Key.
Oh. So alcohol advertising in the world is banned or significantly restricted in a lot of places, including France and Russia. Those two in particular seem pretty interesting to me, given their associations with alcohol, respectively, wine and vodka. Like, to me, I just think of these places as like, oh, they're probably just swimming in it over there, and in my head, and based on what I associate.
Aren't they
as
like
American,
14 and 16, like the age groups for when you're legally?
I know there
able to
are
start
some
drinking?
places where you can drink under. I don't know. You might know more. I know you've visited in Europe. I don't know how, like, if you remember anything about that.
I think it's 16 in France.
Yeah, I thought
Maybe?
so.
Yeah, so so it, like a lot of those places, it's just banned. You can't even advertise alcohol, and or it's very incredibly restricted, like when and where you can do it. Just last year, Ireland began prohibiting the advertisement of alcohol on TV between the hours of 3 a.m. and 9 p.m. So you basically have like 5 hours a day that you can advertise alcohol on TV in Ireland.
That's crazy.
And it's basically when most people would be starting to wind down and go to sleep. So
When they're going to start drinking it.
well, or that, yeah, they're already drinking. And then radio has a similar restriction. So really, I just wanted to walk through all that just to talk about alcohol and and advertising about it, any ads that we like or things that we remember, or and whether should it exist, should because I think it's interesting because at least we live in a country, I don't know about the rest of the world, but we live in a country where you can't really advertise cigarettes now.
I was going to say this would be a fun conversation to have, what cigarette advertisements kind of were and what they are now versus same thing with alcohol.
And I think that's the biggest reason to talk about it is because in our lifetimes we have seen cigarette advertising, whatever you think of cigarettes.
It used to be a cartoon camel smoking cigarettes.
We grew up in a world where you had literally we were again
the Marlboro Man.
You could argue okay, yeah, the camel was appealed to kids, but just I think it's tough. This is where I put on the devil's advocate hat. Okay, yeah, a cartoon camel appeals to kids, but just because it appeals to kids doesn't mean does it explicitly? And maybe I don't know enough. They probably They probably got tripped up and got it. They probably had something in their files that's probably suggested that they thought this would happen. But I don't think that's enough to say you can't use a cartoon character because it might appeal to kids. I think that gets harder to justify as time goes on.
I don't think necessarily the camel was the problem. Okay, yes, does it sort of appeal to kids? Sure, it's a cartoon camel that talks. He's got a cigarette hanging out of his mouth like your Uncle Ronnie when he's fixing an alternator. But it also, if I recall, weren't the camel packs purple with bright green at one point, at that time?
I don't remember.
I could be wrong, but I always feel like camel was really bright, purple with green on it. The sunset was green and yellow. But regardless of the camel and the color of the packs, we had sugar sticks shaped like cigarettes that came in cigarette packs. That was catered to kids.
Yep.
Yeah, can't defend that one. Those, and they were good.
Yeah, I mean,
they
I'd
were
walk
chalky,
around.
but they were good.
I mean,
They were kind of chalky.
They still sell that shit,
but not in cigarette packs. The
I
candy exists, right? But not in the same packs.
I don't know. I have to double check. But...
I don't know if I can speak for generations younger than me in terms of Joe Camel or a cartoon character influencing children to start smoking. But where I grew up in Eastern Kentucky, when I was in high school, they actually had 4 smoke breaks a day because there were so many kids that smoked that instead of trying to police it and, punish them all, they were like, you know what? Fine. Go outside and smoke, but you can only do it these 4 times throughout the day. And I know so many people that began smoking because they wanted to go outside after lunch and the only place you could go was the smoke area, and then of course peer pressure, and then you try it, and it's that no longer happens now. At some point after I graduated, they changed it, but that's just wild for me to think about.
I graduated from so I was in high school from 05 to 09, so just a little bit after you. And I again, isolated Eastern Kentucky school. So we're always if you want to go back in the past, just come out our way and you'll get to see what it was like 15 years ago, basically, at any given point. And there was a smoking section, like when you would have breaks or whatever, and teachers and kids would be over there smoking out the door with each other. It is. And so.
Oh, every time you go to a restaurant too, remember, smoking or not,
I do think that's the best thing that's happened, or that. And that's what's interesting. Like people still smoke somehow. That's the thing I don't understand is how people even fucking afford to smoke. Like those things are expensive. Like if I've never smoked a cigarette, I've smoked pot before, and like it's just not for me. I get bad anxiety. Like I've had a 50-50 success rate with the few times I've done it, so I just swore off of it a couple years after college. But cigarettes, I've never smoked a cigarette, and I've smoked cigars, so I guess that's kind of similar. But cigarettes to me just seem like the most disgusting thing, coupled with being incredibly expensive. Like the fact that you can still buy cigarettes pretty like really easily is incredible. It's a testament to addiction because like
they did change the age from 18 to 21 at least, but
did they? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
For smoking, I didn't know that.
Yep, smoking is now 21.
So we've done as a society, we've done basically everything you can to like eradicate a filthy thing from society, and I think largely succeeded, even though it still exists. And I'm not saying we need to do that.
We just turned it in from smoking cigarettes to vaping.
Well, yeah. Well, and the vaping thing's interesting because I think that's another, like, it kind of ties into just the whole advertising discussion. It's the power of, like,
there's no vaping ads hardly.
No, there's not, but like it's also like I'm not in these spaces, so I don't know, but I would bet there's like influencer type situations happening, or at least that were happening at some point.
The vapes have like fun flavors
Yeah.
and things that, I mean, they appeal to
Yeah, you talk about appealing to
adults
kids
too, but can also appeal to children.
The day I see a candy vape, my head's gonna explode.
What about what if they had 4 Loco flavored vapes?
College me would have been all over that shit.
Been breathing vapes.
I did send you guys a couple links in the chat. One of them is a bunch of retro different Camel containers, and you see the purple one in there that I was talking about. Then there's another one that was like a cigarette vintage tin. Yeah, there was a purple and green Smoking Joe's. And then, of course, you can still get on Amazon and buy World Confections candy cigarettes, pack of 24 for $11.99.
Hell yeah. I might get some and give them away to people.
Just start handing them to random kids at the playground.
Get tased.
They just tased Ryan.
I'll say one of my best friends began smoking when we were 14 because he went outside and smoke break and got talked into trying it, and then we were the same age. We were 24 years old, and he sounded like an old man with emphysema. Just wake up in the morning hacking, constantly coughing. He always reeked of smoke, and finally decided, okay, I'm going to quit. And he used Chantix to quit and was successful. But I was so happy when he said he was going to quit, because we could not stand the lingering smell of smoke that, like, when you get into a car with him. And
growing up in a house where both of my parents smoked like a chimney in the house, in their cars, like, smoking was never my thing. I always thought it was disgusting. I hated going to school. Like, you could wash my shirt 20 times in a house with no smoke, and I promise that would still have the stench of cigarettes on it. Like, I am so repulsed by cigarettes now that I'm like nowhere near them. You know what I mean? Like, my dad still smokes cigarettes, and I can tolerate to be around it. But like when I go to his house, and then like when I leave, I can smell it on me, and it drives me nuts. Like, it's just awful. I remember my sister and I were cleaning the house one day, and of course, like I said, my parents smoke like chimneys. The walls in our hallway, in our main hallway of our house, are white. So you live there every day, you think the walls look white, and they are. I mean, they are white. We started washing them one day, and my God, did we realize how much cigarettes like stain stuff. It was, just absurdly gross.
Well, it's like when you buy stuff, I buy, I go through phases where I buy a lot of stuff off eBay, and I'm always looking, like, making sure, like, does it say it's from
Smoke-free home
or whatever, like, because you'll notice, like, it'll show up, you'll know. you will know. And I think that's a big part of like the cigarette thing and the advertise. We've done a lot to kind of quell smoking as a society. And I don't want to get into like whether that was a good thing or bad thing, because it's obviously it was bad for like cigarette companies, like tobacco companies. Like there's people that were harmed in terms of like their businesses and stuff. So I'm not going to sit here and say like it was all, righteous, but I think the smoke though, like that's the thing, like it has like an impact on other people, and drinking affects other people. Alcohol affects other people because drinking and driving and stuff, but the immediacy of smoke is something like everybody, like I think even smokers, some smokers would like are repulsed by it, even though they're just addicted or whatever. And I think it's interesting, like with alcohol, it's like I think it's interesting to think about like what would it look like, because we have limits on alcohol. Like you can't distill your own alcohol at home, like, or you can't distill spirits. You can do beer to some extent, but like you can't like legally make whiskey in my, like if I started doing that in my backyard and my neighbor looked over,
they made a whole
fence
TV series on that
and said, "What are you doing over there, Josh?" And I said, "Oh, just making moonshine." And if
he'd say, "Well, if you give me some."
Yeah, if I didn't give him a jar, I'd be swimming up a creek, with the feds pretty fast. And I just think, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like I think it's a good thing in the sense of like protecting people from themselves, because people are stupid and will make things that poison themselves for sure.
So you moonshine.
I think that's really blind. The thing. Yeah, of people creating concoctions that are going to injure or kill them.
And then the flip side of it is like
we say that's why they pass these laws, but really it's because they want to tax it.
Well, that's the argument like that a libertarian would make, and I'm not a libertarian by any means. I think a lot of the way they think about stuff is fucking bullshit. Like they just go through hoops to justify certain things about how they think. But that's a place where I could kind of be talked into like, yeah, I mean you're right, but like there's also
it's a little bit of both.
So, but it is funny. Like the first alcohol I ever drank was moonshine that my aunt made. Don't know where she made it. Don't know how she made it. I'm sure it was in a bathtub, and it's still probably the strongest alcohol I've ever consumed. I can remember how it tastes now.
It tastes
and
like
how
burning.
Strong it was. It was like bourbon, the strongest bourbon you've ever had times 20, and I was 15. And I didn't drink again until I was 21. Like I just didn't get into drinking until like I was in college, and so I don't know. I go back and forth on that aspect of it, but also like the advertising of it. It's tough. I don't think about it. I think about it more having a kid, obviously, but I don't know. I grew up like in a home where people drank beer, and it wasn't like I had alcoholic uncles. One of my uncles has died of liver, he just drank himself to death. I mean, I knew when I was 10, that was how he was going to die. And it's sad, but it's also like, I mean, you can't, at some point you can't control what people do to themselves. And, advertising, I don't think is what killed him, So it's, I could be talked into thinking like, yeah, maybe we should tamper down alcohol advertising in the United States, but also,
I don't know that alcohol advertising is necessarily any worse than any other form of advertising. I feel that we are so inundated with ads in every aspect of our life, and that's what I really just find offensive. And I'm someone who I basically majored in advertising in college.
Oh, I did major in advertising.
Yeah, I did the ISC, Integrated Strategic Communications, which was their fancy way of saying advertising and marketing. But it's out of control.
No, it's infected every part of our being, and I hate. Like even as someone, I'm interested in it, like in advertising. Like I was an IC major too, and is interesting to think about advertising, and it works. Like it's effective. Like and part of it is like part of the argument I would say against like or for like getting rid of alcohol like advertising is repetition does work. Even if you think it doesn't work, it does. Like if you see an ad for Bud Light 1,000 times, you're gonna you even if you hate Bud Light, even if it makes you hate Bud Light, you still form an association with what Bud Light is in your mind because you've seen that ad 1,000 times. Because we're human and we have psychology, like we all have things happening in our brains that make us think and make connections. So, and I mean, like, because now I think about advertising and so much of what I see is through sports. Like, it's like Bud is just all over everything. But then it's also now it's the gambling,
sports gambling everywhere.
That's worse than alcohol. Like I think
can't
it's
listen
already
to podcasts. Can't listen.
Awful.
Can't watch
it is
TV,
awful.
YouTube, sports, nothing.
I'm interested in game. Like I think it should be legal. I think people should be able.
It needs to be regulated as far as advertising.
I think
goes.
the advertising is. I already
Yeah.
think it's worse than alcohol in terms of like how it's affecting.
Yeah,
like people are just.
You have
susceptible in a way that
you have sports gambling companies like partnering with leagues, like that are also sending players to jail for shaving off points and kicking them out of the league for gambling on games for other teams and like all these rules, and you're like you're in fucking bed with them. So what are we doing here, guys? It's absurd, absolutely absurd. Sports gambling. Don't get me wrong, like I love a good parlay as much as anybody else. I don't place a whole lot of bets because I'm good enough to know that I'm a chaser, and so I don't need to be chasing the win that I almost had. So I I'm aware of that. But my point is that sports gambling, I have no problem with it. I think that if you enjoy sports gambling and it's not a problem for you, that's great. But I do think the advertising and everything needs to be regulated similarly to the way that we do with alcohol and with, cigarettes, because it is getting really out of hand really fast.
Wholeheartedly agree. Well, here's to advertising. We're at the end of this show. I have a really strong feeling about how this one's going to go, but does this movie matter? Does Swordfish matter? We are talking about Swordfish still. I know that was a fun conversation about alcohol and advertising, but we are still talking about Swordfish for a few more minutes.
I think I'm going to shock you, Josh, and weirdly, I kind of think this movie matters just in that it is such the perfect encapsulation of 2001 culture, and especially given this rah terrorists can't reach us, fuck you America, we're impenetrable, and only 3 months later 9/11 happens, and the whole thing with Halle Berry and getting an extra everything surrounding this movie is still so much like in the culture, I think, that I weirdly think it matters, even though I don't think it's a good movie. I think it's more like a blueprint of we should never do this again.
So you're saying in a time capsule, pre 9/11, this movie has to be in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
As the perfect demonstration of American hubris.
Okay, Josh, do you think this movie matters?
I don't think I think that's a very fair way to assess it, and I want to emphasize for the listeners: if you have no interest in watching this, if you're just listening to this because you like us talking about shit, awesome, thank you so much. But also, find this scene that we're talking about with Travolta going on about terrorism for like a minute. It was uncomfortable to watch, honestly.
Like,
it is so fucking crazy what he's saying in this scene contextually to the year in which this movie was released. I'll say this: It's the
Osama bin Laden could have clipped that and sent it directly to us.
Yes. Well, and I'll say this with that in mind. Part of the reason when I was talking about, like, obviously the movies centered around terrorism and stuff, that scene is almost what got me down the rabbit hole of, like, maybe this bonus feature should be about conspiracy theory, because it's like it's the kind of thing in a movie that will, like, if you're a certain type of person, you'll hear it and think 9/11 was, we did it ourselves. Like, I legit think, like, it's the kind of thing, like, you could draw a line from this scene in this movie to the person that thinks 9/11 was conducted by the U.S. government. Like, I think there's, like, literally, like, that's a straight line between that scene in this movie and that person. And I agree with you, Allison, everything you're saying. I just wonder, I hate to say this movie matters. As someone who drafted it and clearly put a lot of thought into that choice and has a lot of regrets. No, the other thing I'll add, I'll fall in the camp that it matters if for no other reason, even outside of that stuff, if you want to cast that stuff aside. I think if you were to, everybody in this movie matters. Halle Berry is one of the, I think her career has been interesting, and I think we could talk about that more once we talk about Monsters Ball, if we do that as a bonus episode. Seems like her career probably should have been better than it has been, though. But she's still a very iconic actress, but she is, I think, maybe still the only black actress.
Really derailed her.
Yes, it did. I think she's still the only black actress who's won Best Actress. I think. I could be wrong about that, but I think she's.
Didn't Lupita?
But did she win Best Actress?
She was supporting.
Best
I thought.
Supporting.
Oh, okay, she's supporting.
I mean, it's a weird distinction, but. And
Whoopi?
then, I mean, Hugh Jackman. You think Whoopi Goldberg's won Best Actress?
No. I'm just...
Did she win for supporting?
She was nominated. I thought she won
in the 80s.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I don't think she won Best Actress, but it was supporting. She definitely won an Oscar for something.
Yeah, she's got it because she has an EGOT. She's got an Emmy, Grammy,
I didn't know
Oscar, and Tony.
Good for her.
Fuck you, Josh.
Hugh Jackman's obviously. I mean, he's probably, he's had an interesting career, and I think he's obviously been a big name. I think he's someone for our generation, especially. And then Travolta, obviously massive in the history of movies. And then oddly Cheadle, like he's like the fifth or sixth person down the list on terms of people in the credits, but maybe the most recognizable to some people watching this movie. Like if you're a 20-year-old watching this movie, Don Cheadle's probably the biggest guy in it for you, which is kind of interesting to think about. So. Yeah, I'll begrudgingly say this movie that I had to draft matters.
So let me get this straight. Hold on. You two have shit on this movie the entire time and talked about how bad of a movie it is, and you think it matters. I have defended this movie because I enjoy it, and I'm going to say it doesn't matter.
Where the world works in mysterious ways.
It's so how Time's Person of the Year isn't meant to be like, oh, this was the most humanitarian.
Right.
It's just the person that had the most.
No, I get what you're
bad.
saying about why this movie matters. I totally get that. I'm not gonna argue against that at all. I just think it's ironic that you two shit on the whole film the entire time. I had virtually almost nothing good to say about it, other than it's a fun movie. It's okay that you like it, Slate, but it's bad. Okay? And I enjoyed the movie and don't think it matters. And here's why I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters for the simple fact that nobody, either in the directing, producing, acting of this film, none of them did anything like this film didn't make a difference in their careers. I don't think. Like Travolta, like this film didn't like cap off his renaissance and make him like, all right, he did Swordfish. Now what happens? Like,
it got him some Heineken money.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Like Halle Berry, her career was taking off because of Monsters Ball anyway. And like, I don't think this movie really pivoted to anything that she would have done new. Hugh Jackman, it's just filler to get through till he's start doing other stuff. Like, you know, Don Cheadle, like none of these people, like none of them did something that was like out of their character norm or something that was like out of their comfort zone. Like, and again, like I just don't think that this movie matters in the sense that like there's nothing about the movie that is like this person's at their peak, or this person's at their peak, or this is something that you've never seen before, or this is a performance unlike anything you've ever seen from this actor, or this director is on a cutting edge. Like none of those things take place in this movie. And if the only thing that you can say about this movie, like the reason why you should watch this movie because of the most two iconic things in it are Halle Berry's boobs and a blowjob scene, I don't think that means this movie matters.
Well, you said something about never seeing, like people not seeing things you haven't seen before. I've saw a lot of things I've never seen before in this movie.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So, Swordfish is over. We got to spend some time with Halle Berry and
Allison,
Hugh
what's a better
Jackman.
movie, Swordfish or Valentine?
I'd watch Swordfish again.
Oh, man.
Wow, Valentine.
Yeah.
You really? Wow.
That hurts, Allison. That
At
hurts.
least it's got Hugh Jackman in it. A young, pretty Hugh Jackman.
David
so
Boreanaz. I got his name right this time.
he
No,
he
you
does
didn't.
nothing for me.
It's Boreanaz, ain't it?
Boreanaz.
That's what I said.
Boreanaz. I guess it depends on, where you're from. But you all were calling him Borance or
Boreanaz.
It's like he was Borat. Very nice.
Oh, I encourage our listeners to check out the show notes for sure on all of our episodes, but this one especially, there's a lot of stuff. I put in a lot of links to fun ads and things. I think you could go down a good rabbit hole just reading the show notes on this one. You could probably spend as much time reading the show notes and looking through some of these stuff as you could listening to the episode. So if you like extra content, please check those out. Otherwise, leave us comments. We're on Instagram, YouTube. We have a website. I've failed to plug, but NeoCities, is it? Okay, I don't remember the URL, but it'll be in the description off the top. I should have put it in the show notes.
We really got this together. We're such professionals.
Hey,
This episode has been off the rails from the jump.
leave us reviews, all that good stuff. Our next episode, giving it back to Allison. She's going to get us back on the rails, and we're going to talk this whole movie. So this month we started with The Knight's Tale, which I really was surprised by how much I really, really loved it. Flowed into Exit Wounds. It was Exit Wounds. Swordfish.
It's a good movie that matters.
And then we're back to Allison, who actually is talking about another good movie. So she's the only one with taste this month, and I'll let her take over and tell you what we're talking about.
Yeah, next time we're talking about The Princess Diaries, the movie that made Anne Hathaway a star.
An absolute star.
An absolute star.
I don't want to spoil anything of my thoughts for the next episode. I'll just say this. I'm very excited that I watched this in between viewings of Swordfish and just kept thinking the whole time, like, let's just get on with this. Let's just do this Swordfish and then get to this episode. Anne Hathaway's awesome. That's all.
I can't wait to get my 8-year-old daughter's take on it.
I hope she loves it. I hope she really does.
I think she'll enjoy it.
I feel like it was a pretty big deal that they got Julie Andrews to be in it as well, because she was, she's obviously known for like The Sound of Music, but when I'm looking at her credits, 1991 she does a movie called A Fine Romance, and then it's 2000 before she does another movie, and then The Princess Diaries in 2001. So she had not really been in movies for quite a while before she did this one.
I didn't know that. That's interesting. That'll be fun to talk about next week, obviously, and yeah, Anne Hathaway. You know, spoilers. I love Anne Hathaway. I think she can do little wrong, and so I mean, she comes out of the fucking gates just on fire. I mean, this is her first movie.
First movie.
It's
Yep.
Oh, it's insane. So we'll talk about a good movie next week. So hang with us, listeners. We're getting back on track, and until next time, consider changing your passwords. I guess I don't know. It probably won't help you, but you can. The illusion of change can help sometimes, I guess. See ya.
Well, I never made it as a wise man. Couldn't cut it as a poor man stealing.
And they just tased dry. This ball game is over.